The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation. What's going on, good people? It is time for the Guru Sports Perspective. And of course, you can't do the Guru Sports Perspective without that man right there, the sports guru himself, Hugh Lee. What's going on, Hugh?
What's good, E man? Been having a lot of days where I've been waking up kind of late now, man. Thanks a lot first and foremost, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be waking up 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11, 11:30. I usually wake up earlier than that, man. But I was on a double dribble fringe, man. I played that damn near till like 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. I
Right
couldn't
on,
get
man.
it first, and I was mad as hell. And you know me, I'm like, man, I gotta learn this, man. And then when I started whooping on the computer, I was like, yeah, I played that little Battletoads. I played the Contra, man, the Alien Edition, man. I went nuts, man. I didn't know it was all that stuff on there, man. And I had
Yeah,
a good time, man.
basically what we talking about, people. This thing they got out now called Game Stick, where you can play all the retro games from back in the day. I'm talking about the good stuff, like Q talking about the Contra and the Double Dribble and the Pac-Man and Galaga and all that good stuff. So I done put my man's up on it now. So basically, when we got time to chill, that's what we doing. But before we get to the show, let me first talk to the audience themselves. A lot of you have inquired about how I've been doing since I put the post about needing the prayers. I do thank you guys for responding. I definitely thank the few of you that actually called and checked on me personally. I am doing better. Things are starting to slowly work out. I am thankful for the prayers. Keep them coming. And I do have prayers back for you guys as well. That being said, we'll talk about that tomorrow on the I Am Nighthawk. Tonight, we're going to talk sports because that's what we like to do. However, we do have some things that we feel a little differently about. We'll get into that as the show progresses. First and foremost, got to welcome my brother Hugh. Glad we are here. Glad that we figured out our technical difficulties for the moment and we could talk about these things. Let's do it, Hugh. What you got up?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just chilling on, trying to see what was going on, man, around the sports world. It's been kind of low key today, not too much going on. So I was like, it won't be no interruption. Sometimes I look at that phone just to see if any sports center or anything pop up. But other than that, man, everything been
Now,
you know, my thoughts.
here's the thing, and Hugh is not the only person that's been feeling this way. We've been checking out the NBA playoffs, and for the most part, they ain't quite as interesting as we would like for them to be. Um, Tell them your thoughts about that, Hugh, before we get into the actual game.
And that ain't because we old school, people quick to say, oh, y'all older, man, so y'all wanted to be like the 90s when everybody was killing each other. No, man, it ain't even about that, man. It's just what we've been seeing lately to stop the game, man. Basketball is supposed to be a fast-paced game, man, but in every game just about I've been seeing people complaining about fouls like Josh Hart, the New York Knicks, he always complaining. I know that did you see the game with Denver and the Timberwolves? They was already upset that they was getting beat, but at the same time, Ant was complaining about every play, man, and it's just slowed down the game 10, 15 minutes. And I was just like, just too much complaining about the game, man. Everybody want every play to be a foul. And one thing I did like that the refs were doing is they trying to let them play the game and, determine the game. Of course, they're not gonna let you get away with nothing crazy like a flagrant foul or anything, but a little bit bump here or there, a little bit brush off with the elbow. You ain't literally throwing balls, but if you kind of bump a person and kind of hit them a little bit, pull up the elbow a little bit, they wasn't really calling stuff like that. But everybody want every call now, man, and I just feel like that's been frustrated in the game. And we talked about too before the blowouts, man. I wasn't too keen about that. And it's crazy because I'm not really normally a hockey fan, but a casual hockey fan would just tune in and see some of the stuff that happened. Like I thought that Boston was about to blow their lead and get eliminated. So that was interesting to me, and just the competition, because it's been like a lot of hard-nosed competition where it wasn't no blowouts, man. NBA, some of it I think a lot of the people wasn't really paying attention to, because when the games got very out of hand, because like for instance the Boston series, the only game that was close is the one when they made the 23 threes, and we knew that wasn't gonna happen in the series. So yeah, that kind of irked me to see a lot of the blowouts, man. And then the Pelicans getting swept, but then respect to OKC, because it seems like right now the dudes, won 5 in a row, haven't lost a game yet in the playoffs. But it's just been a lot of blowouts too. The games haven't really been close, and haven't been too much competition. Like the two games that I liked on both sides, on the East and the West, was the Clippers series with the Clippers in Dallas before that got out of hand the last few games, and the series when it was the Orlando and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was close. The end kind of got choppy, but regardless, it was very close. Went all the way to 7-game type series, but hasn't been too much of that. Man. It's been more or less like what we thought in round one, that the teams was going to blow out the teams. Yeah, and it's unfortunate we didn't see my man Embiid, at 100%. It just seems like we never going to see him at 100%. And Tobias Harris is probably one of the biggest thieves outside of your man's Ben Simmons, man. They pay him all that money to not show up, man. Hell, we had the same amount of points he had, man. And most times I was in my bed, chilling watching the game. So yeah, it was sad, man. It's just a lot of it wasn't no parity. We thought that it was gonna be a little bit more competitive, but we haven't had that in the second round. Some games been pretty much blowouts too. Actually, I think all of the games I've seen besides that first game with Denver has been blowouts. So that's been definitely taken away from it, man. But, I'm still intrigued with not only them getting blew out that second game, but just how good Ant-Man is, man. 'Cause, you can start to see everything shift now to the younger generation, because you seeing OKC and you seeing like Timberwolves, and you starting to see all these younger teams, even Orlando Magic, even though they're not in it anymore. You see them, just guys are on the rise now. Remember last year, when we was watching the playoffs, we didn't think nothing much of the first round. When we seen was it Los Angeles Lakers versus OKC. But when we saw them boys, what did we say? I said, damn, no one of them dudes is pretty good on OKC. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I said, man, if Chet Holmgren come back and do just a little bit, man. I think this would be a team to be reckoned with. And yeah, man, they're one of the better teams, man. And people better put some respect on their name, because, man, they shut down on Luka, man. But I want to talk to you about that too, man. I'm about to shift it over to you now, E. As far as with Luka, man, the problems are starting to hunt him again, man. And that's been a big issue to me, and it's been pissing me off. You shouldn't take 11 seconds, man, with the ball and do ISOs and post-ups, man. Most of your players are sitting around looking at you, man, because they know they ain't going to get the ball, and they know you're going to try to make your own shot at that point, man. I'm starting to think that he's dribbling too much, and he's doing some of the same stuff he did before, and that carried over in this series, and that's why they got exposed that last game. What were your thoughts?
Okay, now basically what he was describing to y'all is what we're seeing in this year's playoffs is the changing of the guard. And for us older cats, it's kind of different because, we don't have a lot of superstars in this new batch just yet. They are still on the verge. I mean, you got some excellent players still in the playoffs. You got, like you said, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You, of course, got Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards over there in Minnesota. You got Tatum and, of course, Brown over there with Boston. You got Halliburton over there with the Pacers. These are names that we as sports people that report on these things from week to week, we know them, but basic fan A, not so much. I think part of why the playoffs is not so good for some of y'all is because the marquee players in the league, they out now. You got KD, he gone. You got LeBron, of course, gone. You got Steph Curry, gone. That makes things a little different. But then you got to keep in mind, look at the records of those teams. They basically finished 6th place, 8th place, 9th place. The young guys, them the ones that were in there. When you look at the number 1, 2, 3 seeds, Oklahoma City, number 1 seed in the West. Boston, number 1 seed in the East. Indiana about third, so on and so forth. So that's part of where did this interest come from. Then another thing you look at is the style of play. The style of play of some of these teams, it'll drive you crazy, particularly when you look at Boston. Boston shot over 43 threes last night, okay? For us old school people, we was taught, okay, if you're going to shoot the three, you make sure that there's some people up under the boards where you shoot the three. And you get close to the line as you can. You don't step back 4-5 steps from the three-point line to let it go. That's not a high percentage shot.
No.
So for some of y'all, when y'all look at that and the whole game pretty much like that, yeah, that's a lot to contend with. On the other hand, you look at the people on some of these teams, it's like, who are these Jags? Now, Jags is basically this new term I came up with a couple of weeks ago. Just another guy is a Jag, okay? Because in the end, you don't know these people. We don't know these people. It's some people on some of these teams that be like, Hugh, who is that? And Hugh can't tell me. And Hugh the sports guru. He keep up with this stuff. So if he can't tell me, then I know it's bad. Now let's get to the individual in particular that you brought up. That would be Luka Doncic. Now, the problem with Luka is simple. He is not willing to adjust his game to get them to that next level. Okay? His team is definitely better than they have been in the last couple seasons. He has somebody that definitely got his back when you talk about Kyrie. Kyrie has made the adjustments, okay? For all the talk that people have had about Kyrie Irving, Hugh, this year he has shown that, okay, it's time for me to grow up. I look at it a lot like how we talked about Baker Mayfield last year in the NFL. Yeah. How he basically took the time and said, okay, it's got to be something I'm doing on my end that's causing these issues. Let me see what I can do to adjust my game to make it fit where I'm at. And that's what he's done. So if you notice, Kyrie spends a good part of the game not concentrating on his defense and dealing with that. And then at times when it's time for him to take over offensively, he got some of the best offensive trick bag in the NBA. On the other hand, his teammate, he all offense. And in the end, we know Luka is still a little banged up, as most people are this time of year. But instead of making the proper adjustments, Luka is relying on what Luka relies on. I could do anything. I'm Luka. No, Luka, when it comes to certain teams, you cannot. And that's where the problem's coming in. Luka has to make the adjustments. In the end, if you really banged up Luka, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to assume the James Harden role on your squad and be the point forward point guard and let Kyrie do the heavy lifting. If that's what it's going to take for y'all to get to the next round. Make the adjustment because in the end, you want the ring. You're not going to get the ring the way you're playing now. Basically, other teams then found that out, but of course, they done found it out too late. That's why they're not in the playoffs. And at the rate they're going, they won't be either. Now, clearly, it wasn't a lot of good first-round matchups. Hugh said that. I agree. That's part of the problem. When you converse that with the NHL, and I know many of y'all are not NHL fans, I'm pretty sure our good friend Road to Stardom is going to check in, and she definitely is a NHL fan. You will note that first round of the NHL playoffs, it was some pretty good games in that, particularly that Boston and Toronto series. Those last three games, that was some of the best first round playoff hockey you will ever see. Now, the only thing I regret about the NHL is the fact that we didn't got to this point, and I do believe all the Canadian teams is out again. The only way I can see the NHL progressing, Hugh, is either A, they get about 2 or 3 superstars. And I'm talking about beyond the realm of the Sidney Crosbys and Alex Ovechkins, people that not only light up the scoreboard, but light up the screen, do some good endorsement deals, charismatic folks. Or the more likely scenario, they have to get at least 2 or 3 of the Canadian teams to step that game up and start winning Stanley Cups. Because in the end, Canada is the key to growing the NHL. I think in America, we starting to concentrate on other sports now, other things, particularly the WNBA, which we will get to a little bit later. But in terms of if you want to see some good playoff play, I definitely suggest at this point in the game to watch more NHL because these NBA playoffs, There are some exceptions, but for the most part, pretty dry. I agree with you. So that being said, we're about to go through who's still in the playoffs right now, and we can do some quick update, and we can move on if you want, Hugh. I ain't mad at it. All right, first of all, we got the Knicks and the Pacers. Right now, I do believe the Knicks are up 1-0. Can the Pacers pull this off? Or are they basically just gonna go ahead and get beat up?
I think they could pull it off. Hell, they should have pulled off that first game, man. I just felt like they just got too laxy daisy at the end, man. I felt like it was too many shots selections for Jalen Brunson too. He's a little guy, man. It's like, I didn't know who was the person responsible for him. I said, damn, Tyrese Halliburton was. I said, come on, man, you got to do better. 6'5", man. Y'all need to put a body on him at all times. Kind of do what the Sixers did, but they didn't have the speed and enough talent to be able to maintain the Knicks. They got 2 games out of it. I know y'all got a little more talent. Y'all a little younger too. That's what we said about the whole problem stuff, man. We said the Pacers are good, but one thing that we're afraid of with them, man, is what they're going to do when the lights get bigger, man, when the lights get brighter. And that's been the case right now, man. They're going to have to step it up. Yeah, I know they're in New York, but they're going to have to do something, because if they can even the series and go home, even though if they went down 2-0, it wouldn't matter as long as they go home and handle business. But you at least got to still a game on the road to try to make it interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking they're going to bounce back today. I definitely feel like it.
Definitely they need to win game 2. I think they will win game 3 regardless. I definitely see this series probably going about 6. I think the Knicks got them. Bottom line is it all is dependent on the Knicks side, what's going on with the Villanova 3. For those of y'all not familiar, that's the 3 guys that went to Villanova that's now all on the New York Knicks team. That is Mr. Hart, that is Mr. DiVincenzo, and of course that kid Brunson. When those 3 guys score 75 points or more, the Knicks win. Plain and simple. They actually have been accounting for about 80% of their offense. So if them 3 can keep it rolling like that, I think it's very plausible they will move on to the next round. Now, on the other end, for the East, the other playoff series, now we got Boston and Cleveland. Hugh, very simply, is Cleveland even remotely in this thing?
Cleveland might get a game, or if you could catch Boston slipping, they may be able to get 2. But I'm thinking right now, Boston has something to prove. I know they hear the background. I know they hear it in their voices. Like, but man, Boston blew out Cleveland yesterday, and people still talking about. I heard Colin Cowherd and I heard Stephen A. Smith say that first off, Colin Cowherd said he need Jason Tatum to get a little bit more involved and be a little bit more aggressive. I said, damn, this dude damn near had a triple-double last night. That's not aggressive enough for you. And then with Stephen A, he was like, his shooting woes are starting to scare him. I said, shooting woes? I said, man, but they won, and it was like 120 to 195. I mean, what else do y'all want, man? So, yeah, man, I still feel like they hear that noise in the background. I think they're going to go ahead and try to put their foot on their throat. I would be surprised if Cleveland can win 2 games. But like I said, they get lackadaisy, and I feel like Joe Mazzulla sometimes don't have the adjustments. But end of the day, I'm thinking of anything, I would say Cleveland to get a game, and it'll be a gentleman's sweep. Hell, it might just be a sweep. So, yeah, I just hope that they stay focused. I know once they get to Cleveland, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But hopefully they have Jared Allen back, because I don't know if you heard too in the last series you discussed too. Robinson is out for the rest of the season. Nick Center.
Yeah, like I said, injuries are definitely playing a big part in these playoffs as well, in terms of how good or bad they are. It seems like all the teams that's left have at least one major injury question that comes into play, as well as some of the teams that's not in it anymore. I mean, imagine where Milwaukee would be right now if Giannis and
Dame Lillard,
the Dame Dollar was actually 100%, as opposed to what they end up being. Right now, remember, Boston playing without Porzingis. So, for as crazy as that blowout was, just imagine how much more they probably would have won by if Porzingis was playing. That being said, if they get him back anytime this next game or 2, it's not even an issue. I don't think it's an issue now, except for the fact that Boston, they take games off. Even in the playoffs, they take games off, plain and simple, because of that. And knowing that one dude on Cleveland squad, y'all know who I'm talking about, Spider-Man. He is not trying to lose ever. He got that dog in him. And as long as he got that dog in him, they got a puncher's chance of at least one of these games. But I think when all is said and done, Boston easily moves on to the next round. I do believe they get the Knicks, and it could be interesting, but maybe not. I think the key now for Boston is two things. What's going to happen in the West, which we're about to talk about in a minute, and at some point in these playoffs, Jaylen Brown and Tatum going to have to figure out who's going to be that guy. This thing with them kind of going back and forth, okay, you shoot some, I shoot some, that was fine and dandy in the regular season. That even worked in some of the playoffs in the past. I think they don't get to that next level until it is decided, much like back in the day when Miami had to decide, and Dwayne Wade was like, look, Brian, you the man, okay? You the man. I'm going to follow your lead. At some point, either Brown or Tatum, one of them going to be like, look, let me be the man. You follow my lead. With them both trying to be the man, that's part of where they fail. And then, of course, they coach Missoula. That's a whole nother discussion. I don't think he makes good adjustments. They supposed to have a deep bench. I don't think he utilizes it well. I think those things will come back to haunt him depending on who they get in these next rounds or something. You agree, Hugh?
I definitely agree 100%. And I think the crazy part is last year, I was talking a little different, but you have to have somebody step up in Boston to be that guy. I'm thinking it's going to be Jaylen Brown. For some reason, he just had more killer instinct, and he had that dog in it. I remember we was talking before, and I was like, man, I think they need to, let Jason Tatum do his thing. And that was last year around this time. Man, I've been seeing the way Jaylen Brown been playing, especially the last like 2 to 3 games. Nah, man, y'all need to put the ball in his hands, let him do his thing, because those guys, man, is too little for him. You see how he just went through the middle, man, yesterday, and just got an easy dunk like it was a layup. That dude got the power, the strength, and speed, man. And I just don't know, man. Yeah, I definitely feel like if they let him be who he is, I think the Boston can definitely be in the finals. But um, it's a lot of competition in the West, man. So they have to definitely, figure out who they're gonna get over there first before anything happens. And kind of figuring it's gonna be between OKC and
Okay, well, we got to go there, Hugh. Let's talk about the West for a minute. Okay, now, on the one hand, we got the one series, OKC, and opponent, okay? Let's be honest. It's OKC, it's opponent. Because right now, Dallas, they're not ready for what OKC got for them. They're not. Them young dudes is very, very hungry, and they want it. They want it in a major way, and they're willing to work for it. See, as opposed to some other teams that basically had just the 2 or 3 players and the Jags, just another guys. OKC, they're a team. You know who they remind me of? They remind me of a young version of the Going to Work Pistons. Remember that? Where basically they had stars on the team, but in the end, it didn't matter who won. It didn't matter who scored the most points. It didn't matter none of that to them. It was all about playing good team basketball. And that's what I'm seeing at OKC right now. They're playing some good team basketball. They know who the leaders are, but they don't always need them to lead. Some nights it's people like Dort, people like Jay Will over there that take over games. That's what I like about that team. And in the end, I think they're just going to have too much firepower for Dallas I can see Dallas winning a game or two because they got 2 of the better scorers in the league. But I think OKC about to go ahead and put them on out of there. What you think, Hugh?
I definitely feel so, man. Like you said, man, I can't pronunciate that guy's name real good, but we just going to say his last name, Dort, man. That dude, man, he got that Gary Payton in him, man. I seen some of the stuff he did yesterday, man. I said, it ain't no way. How they put the lock on Luka, man. It was like Luka was losing the ball when he was trying to dribble, and he dove and grabbed the ball and it went into a dunk on the other end. And they're very exciting too, man. They don't got a lot of flashy players. But they got a lot of talent, man, and a lot of people come there, know they role, and they execute it at the fullest, and that's what makes them so good. Because Dort gets his shots, but he's a great defender. You know, Shaq gonna do his thing. Jay Will gonna do his thing. Shaq gonna do his thing. Everybody fall in line on that team, and they're not trying to, outplay each other. They're playing with each other, and they're playing as a unit, and that's what makes them so dangerous. And if Luka can't, do better and keep tripping over himself, I think that it's going to be a real big issue, man. They can mess around and get swept, but I just think there's too much talent in him and Kyrie to be able to allow that to happen. I'm hoping so. Because yeah, Luka just needs to do better, man, and play better as one of the team leaders. Because when he play the way he do and try to play ISO and put everything on him and say we're gonna win by me and lose by me, most times y'all gonna lose. So yeah, man, you need to play better, man. Like you said, he got a better team around him now, man. So you shouldn't even be that way now. Because you got enough talent around who can execute and who can play a good, team sport. We've seen it in the last. It's just up to him now to figure out to say, man, I got all these guys on my team. I got all these weapons. I don't have to do it by myself. Once he gets that in his mind, I think that they can play better. But till then, if he had that mentality, man, they'll be messing around and losing four straight, going home. So yeah, man, and we'll still have that question mark, or we'll still have that, but we always had in the back of our head. Damn, did Mark Cuban mess up when he let Jalen Brunson walk? We've always been feeling that way. We feel like it's a little better now this year because they've been playing better as a unit. Kyrie and Luka, which people didn't think that it'd be able to happen. But at the same time, you end up getting better pieces around him. But yeah, man, he's going to have to execute and use what he has because if they fumble again, most of it's going to be on Luka. And yeah, we still gonna be looking at that Brunson thing like, damn, man, if y'all had him, man, that'd probably made a hell of a difference. But when y'all let him walk, and y'all got Kyrie. I mean, yeah, he's talented too, man. With Kyrie starting to get up there in age, and you had a young gun that you could have gave that opportunity to, and you squandered it. So, yeah, let's see how this round go, and let's see what Dallas do in this next game. That's going to determine a lot.
Yep, and then of course it definitely does not hurt, not help Dallas, mind you, that Tim Hardaway Jr. is out. He is a very key component that they definitely could utilize right now. I mean, I imagine even if he does come back at some point, he's not going to be 100%, and that's only going to get you so much. But I go back to that fateful day when we talked on the show. Shout out to our guy Pride Hunter, and mainly what he talked about is how Dallas does not have a point guard. You remember that? You recall that, Hugh? Um, I said that they did at the time. I do recall saying that that point guard was Jalen Brunson. Ain't like me now, Pride. How you like me now? I'm just saying. Because truth be told, they still don't have a point guard. That's because the point guard is the point man. Luka is the point guard. When he recognizes that and understands that and basically utilizes that to his advantage, Dallas will be a better team. Until he can come to that understanding, Dallas is only going to get so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, that's just part of that West. The other part is the marquee matchup that we have been waiting for between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. However, after two games, it's not going quite the way I thought it was going to go. What you think, Hugh?
I definitely was surprised too. The first game, they stumbled. And at one point, I was like, okay, it looks like, Denver going to try to cruise with this one because they was beating them pretty good at first. And then when it came to like before going into the half, after the half, man, they just let the game slip away, man. What was smart too that I've seen is the pedigree. I wish that other teams had as much talent as the Timberwolves, but they were the number one overall defense as well. You got two bigs like Gobert, who's the defensive player of the year, and you got Cat, and they take turns guarding him. They already know. Nikola Jokic is not that athletic. And if you could put a good body on him, put your arms up, contest his shots, that you could give him a headache, man. He struggled this series with those Twin Towers because they're pretty good defenders, man. can't have his way with those guys like he did with LA and put his body on them and kind of fully ball them because those guys are just as big and aggressive. But the difference is their athleticism is helping them stay with him and keep up with him. Unfortunately, Jamal Murray is hurt right now too when he hurt his calf in that last series with them. So, yeah, they're going to need more of those guys to step up, man. They're going to need Mike Porter to step up, and they're going to need some of those other guys to, step up, Bolt. And, it's just not, just Nikola. Everybody's going to have to play their role. They're down 2 now. They're against the ropes. They're the defending champions. They're going to have to do something. If they can at least sneak a game in Minnesota, that'll be half the battle. I still don't feel like after putting themselves in this 2-hole, that there's no coming back. It looks like they're going to be looking on them and seeing who's going to be next between, the Dallas and OKC series. That's my thing. Ant-Man just taking over right now, man. He's looking like he's going to become that new face.
Okay, here's the thing. You really thought that Denver was going to have the upper hand because, one, they are the defending champions. 2, it's in Denver. And we always talk about how the altitude in Denver is to their advantage because they're used to it. And the teams that's coming in, they are not. However, you do see that it has affected them at times in Minnesota, particularly that first game. Ant-Man was exhausted at the game 1. But that being said, they have figured some things out. One, they have figured out that this Denver team, they basically used up a lot of energy beating the Lakers. Let's be honest. And it's definitely showing early on because obviously Murray, not 100% at this point. Obviously, KCP, not 100% at this point. And then you look at some of the other players, they have not been going too deep into that bench. And because of that, you got people that's normally dominant, that of course would be Jokic, looking kind of tired, particularly in the second half of game 2, because they are not going to the bench enough. On the other hand, Minnesota is the younger team, and they are definitely the hungrier team of the two, particularly when you talk about Ant-Man and Cat, because between the two of them, they are setting the tone. But what I like is they don't have Jags on that team. They have people coming off the bench like Nas Reed, the 6th man of the year, like Daniels. They got some people on that squad that's coming in and they ready to work. They come in hands up, give me ball, give me ball. They defending, they are passing to the people that need the ball, they getting it in. Now, let me address this right quick. There's a couple things in this series that people have been talking about. One is sport related to the series. The other one just stupid. As you know, Rudy Gobert did not play game 2. It is because he attended the birth of his first child. There are people that have been getting on him for that. Y'all dumb, okay?
Yeah, it ain't no way, man. I'm gonna miss that.
Understand. I mean, me and you here, we are not parents, true enough. But we do understand that if we had a child and it's our first child and they about to come into the world, regardless of whatever else is coming on, if I am physically able to be there, I'm going to be there.
Absolutely.
I understand that it's the playoffs now. It's a little different, I admit, if this was game 7 NBA Finals or if this was the Super Bowl, I get that. Because you might not never, ever, ever get back there. You won't have to assume that you're going to make it back to the playoffs if you're in Minnesota. And this is Series 2, okay? Not to mention this is game 2 of Series 2. This ain't game 7. This ain't Ant-Man, okay? Understand, yes, Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, I get all that. He is an important part of that team. But I know I myself couldn't concentrate if I'm trying to play and in the back of my mind, I'm wondering, okay, what if something happened to my woman and the baby don't happen or something to that effect? You should not want that for him. Imagine if something, and knock on wood, something wrong had happened with the birth of the child. Now, they say the birth actually took place before the game and, he had time to come back and play. No, man, let that man have his moment with his baby. Y'all stupid for saying that. Anybody that thought differently, I personally think, this is my personal sports opinion, that y'all was dumb for feeling that way about it, okay? The second thing that happened, game 2, what happened with the incident with the heating pad. Okay, as you know, my man's got frustrated, Murray, threw a heating pad on the floor. Basically, all the referees now said that if they had known it was him who had did it, he would have got tossed out the game instantly. In that moment, that would have been the correct call, okay? Now, since that didn't happen, everybody, of course, is calling for Murray to be suspended for 1 or 2 games. It didn't happen. And they up in arms about it. I myself am good with it. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. One, not just because Murray is a superstar and he is on the championship team. It's because in the end, that happened in the moment, okay? If you didn't catch it in the moment, you can't go back now and deal with that. Not that. Now, granted, if somebody would have got hurt, that's a whole nother argument. If somebody had got hurt, then yeah. Not only would I have been cool with him getting suspended for this game, I've been pretty much cool with him getting suspended for the rest of the playoff period. But because that did not happen, they did the proper thing in my book and fined him $100K. Now, I understand Jamal Murray make about $40 million a season, not counting endorsements and all that. So it's literally like a drop in the bucket for him. But the day we get to saying $100K ain't no money, I got a problem with you. Between me and Hugh, we probably ain't got $100K the last 3 years combined. Okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
understand that. Yeah, his playoff salary pays that money, but still though, let's not poo-poo on that. Okay, but yeah, I felt like that was the right decision. Fine him the money. Of course, if anything else like that happens again, then whatever happened to him happened to him. But I was cool with it. What was your thoughts, Hugh?
With that, I understood that too. Like you said, nobody got hurt, nothing really happened major, and you found out after the fact. So if he hurt somebody, then I would have given them the suspension, but nothing happened to nobody. Everybody was cool. They found out afterwards. So yeah, just give them a fine. The suspension would have been crazy around this time. Like you said, as far as when it comes to Rudy Gobert, man, that's crazy because, like you said, it wasn't like it was like Game 7 of the NBA Finals or the Super Bowl or anything. It was Game 2 in which they beat the hell out of Denver. So come on now, chill out. Them boys beat the brakes off of Denver without him. It would probably even been worse with him there. So that was cool that he chilled and he, spent time with his baby, his first newborn baby, and they handled business. But yeah, man, I hate when people, put their 2 cents on things like that, man, when it got nothing to do with them, man. This is the first time him being a father, man, with his wife, and he wanted to make sure everything was okay, man. He missed that 1 game. I mean, okay, he'll be back game 3, hopefully, but yeah, y'all need to get out of rest, man. But I think one of the biggest struggles too with Denver we had to think about too. I thought about 2 guys that's missing from their core that they had last year. Some guys who came off of the bench and who executed. Bruce Brown and Green, man. Those 2 guys.
Yeah.
Now, when you're a champion, a lot of times you want a little bit more money than what you would normally get from the team that you got to the championship. And other teams is going to pay you because they feel like, okay, he has the championship pedigree. Let me put him on my team and see if he can do the same thing or spark some type of, energy in my team to help us get to that promise. And so they get sometimes some money that's a little over exaggerated in their contracts. But with them 2 guys missing, man, and not being able to get the money they needed, yeah, that definitely hurt them too. Because just imagine if Bruce Brown was over there and Jeff Green, that would probably help out more than what it has because they don't really have that much depth over there. As far as the whole Rudy Gobert thing, I was surprised too, like you said, that people had something saying was against that.
That part. But yeah, I think when all is said and done, it all boils down to this game 3. They win game 3 in Minnesota, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And I'm going to go as far to say if they win game 3 in Minnesota and then go on to sweep the NBA champion Denver Nuggets, I kind of agree with Stephen A. This team going to the finals. And they may mess around and win that thing.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah, that being said, never underestimate the heart of the champion. Rudy Tomjanovich said that back in the day about the Houston Rockets, and they went on to win a second championship. I'm gonna have to say that same thing right now. Do not underestimate the heart of the champion. Remember, the best player in basketball right now is still that dude, the Joker. And if the Joker have a monster game, they could be right back in this thing.
Just a few adjustments here and there. Most times, you'll be surprised at what can happen.
Absolutely. Okay, now, this being said, people, that's our playoff take for now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, this next segment, this is for you, Road to Stardom. It's specifically for you because we're going to talk about a subject that you've definitely been wanting us to chime in on, and we do have a few thoughts on it. So that being said, this is the Sports Guru Sports Perspective. We will be right back after these words from the Night Hawk. Night Network presents Pastor Sean Love. Pastor Sean Love, devoted father and husband, a residing pastor at the River Rouge Bible Assembly in River Rouge, Michigan. Join him as he gives us messages from God's Word, Bible study, and encouragement. You can find him on YouTube under Sean Love.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comfort together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
On Blog Talk Radio or where most great music podcasts are located. Don't forget to subscribe and show some love.
Hold up. Hold up, hold up.
Guru Sports Perspective. That, of course, is the Guru Hugh Lee. I'm your boy E-Buck, along for the ride. Okay, we are going to talk about a subject that a few of you have been asking for us to talk about more. That would be the WNBA. They are in the preseason right now, but we're going to talk a few of the major stars and whatnot. But before we get to that, we're going to have a little baseball talk. Right now, baseball starting to get to that part of the season.
Yeah.
Or some of it is like, some of it kind of good. Let's talk a little good and a little bad. First of all, let's talk about the good. So far, best team in the league, Los Angeles Dodgers. Are you surprised?
With the money they paid, I'm definitely not surprised, man, because they've been on a hot streak. They've been like 14-2 in the last few games. And I think that them and the Yankees are finally waking up because I looked and I was like, their records are damn near similar too now when you see them. And the only difference is now Garrett Cole will be back in their lineup. Man, you see my man's, I was about to call him Hideki Matsui, but he is basically like the 2.0 Hideki Matsui, man. Shohei Ohtani, man, he's been blasting everything. Right now, that's what I'm saying. E-Man, don't have him pitch unless, like you said, unless they have him close and start being the closer. Let him keep hitting because his bat's been hot, bro. So by him hitting like he is and on the tear, continue to let him do that, man. I think just him and like that lineup in general, Yeah, man. It's gonna be hard to stop those guys.
Mookie, Otani, Freeman. Them your top three in the lineup, and then it just get kind of outlandish from there. I mean,
I like
Shohei
Max
hitting damn near
Muncy.
400 right now. That's crazy. I mean,
So
you
you
done
said,
paid him all that money, but remember, he only making about $1.5 million for real.
yeah, you can't
This
exclude
season.
Max Muncy though, E.
Yeah, don't forget Muncy. He raking too. I mean, bottom line, they are as good as advertised, okay? But again, don't sleep on Atlanta. Atlanta right behind them, looking
Yeah,
good yet again. Remember, this time last year we were saying, yeah, it's looking like it's going to be that showdown between the Dodgers and the Braves, but then the playoffs came and it was a whole nother story. I think this year we actually going to get what was advertised.
they should have the best of 7 games on all platforms now. Because sometimes you might just get caught slipping, like we've been seeing it at best of 5, man. It ain't pretty. And they've been pissed off, man, in the MLB themselves, saying, man, we need to, have more games now because of that best of 5 series is starting to get out of hand. Yeah, because all your stars was gone. And then when it came to the World Series, we were scratching our heads like, damn, like these two teams, man, is it gonna really make a lot of money? They did okay, but I don't think it did it. It would have did as big as like Los Angeles or some of the bigger name teams coming, into the fold. So yeah, they definitely got to fix that right now before it get any worse than what it was.
Right. Now, on the other end of it, remember we talked about Colorado and the Chicago White Sox? They are just as bad as we thought they was going to be. Maybe worse. Your thoughts on them, Hugh?
Definitely, Colorado kind of figured that with the White Sox, man. Yeah, I'm not surprised by how bad they're both playing. Surprising to me too. One of the teams that I thought who was going to be really bad is they still on the cusp and it's still early, but I was surprised that the A's are only just 2 games out of 500. So I was really surprised in seeing that, but I was a little pissed too the day that we lost off of that 10th inning stretch, man. It make us only a game. So,
Right.
yeah,
And then, of course, since most of our people in the network are from the D, let's quickly talk about the Tigers. On the one hand, starting pitching outstanding. Very good start pitch, particularly that dude Scoble. Scoble is on fire right now. And that dude Flaherty ain't no joke either, but the bats, man, are
that's
hitting
right.
this total trash.
This
What's up
last
with it, Hugh?
man, last Jimenez walk, man. I mean Baez, my bad. No, keep Andy
No,
yeah,
keep Ibanez, but
keep
Baez,
Baez. Yeah,
bye-bye.
Javier Baez, but man,
Right.
he hasn't
Now,
been
that
good
being
since
said,
he was on the cover of that MLB The Show, man. He ain't been good since that.
he ain't showed a damn thing. But we brought up a kid yesterday, and he came up raking. I hope he keep it going tonight.
Yeah, we can definitely use that, man. I've been kind of
Yeah,
disappointed.
and no, the biggest disappointment by far, not even Baez. Torque, where you at, bruh?
Yeah,
I don't
you
even
been
think that
hearing
dude
the
Torque got
rumor?
a home run yet.
You've been hearing the rumor. They been saying it's been a rumor right now that AJ Hinchman talking about taking him back down to AAA, man, if he don't produce soon.
I'm sorry, if that dude after hitting 30 home runs and back down to AAA, it's only a matter of time before he got to go. Sorry.
Kind of like Brandon Inge all over again.
Right, because that dude Riley Green, he about the only person on the squad outside of Ibanez that's actually hitting.
Mm-hmm. Him and Mr. Andy and Baez and everybody else has been asleep.
Yeah, but like I said, we've been looking at the Tigers' schedule pretty much after they get done with Cleveland. They got some easier teams to contend with this next week or two, so hopefully that'll help wake them up.
Yeah, at least get them 5-6 games over 500. I'd be satisfied with that, man.
Yep.
Good enough so I can go to a game this year. Dang.
That part. Okay, now let's get to it. Before we end the show, we got to talk some WNBA. As you know, we got the preseason going on. And here's the crazy thing about it. Under normal circumstances and years past, didn't nobody give a damn about WNBA preseason. Not only do people care, people are upset that certain WNBA preseason games were not shown. How crazy did it get? The first game of Chicago Sky was not advertised or broadcast. Somebody who was actually at the game broadcasted what they seen on their phone. 3 million people followed that broadcast on Twitter. 3 million people watched a live preseason game in a WNBA. Hugh, talk to
You
me.
got two of the best girls in the game right now. And then I see, yeah, I believe Angel still needed to get in the lab, and thank God that she have, and she's been with some of the best and working on her game. She already was a hell of a defender and a good hustler, man. You could just see how good they play, man. How they mesh with that team. That team seems like they elevated their game too, man. That last game I seen, it was like they got a steal, they passed it, and before you even knew it, a girl hit the three, man, and the three just. It was so exciting to see how fast paced they are and how good the team feeling right now, even though it's the preseason, man. You see Mika Mall in the game, doing what she normally do best. And this is good to see a lot of these young girls who came from college and now in the WNBA, and that's what makes it more exciting to me. Caitlin Clark was cooking that first game that she played, man. She was doing some of the same stuff she did in college. Nobody could stop her. And I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen.
And here's, we got to talk about this, Hugh. There's been a lot of people on social media putting the hate either on Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Y'all got to stop with this, okay? Both of them. We want both of them to succeed. It should not be a black-white thing. It should not be a tall person, little person thing. It should not be a alphabet thing. It should not be any of that, okay? It should simply be these are two great players, up and coming, about to take the league to the next level. It's already happening. Did you hear the news, Hugh? That now, after years of trying to negotiate this, all WNBA teams, that is all 12 of them, will be taking chartered flights to their various games as opposed to flying commercial, which was damn ridiculous. Bad enough you're not paying these people what they should be making, but you actually had them going on regular plane flights with us. They all now have charter flights. It's going to cost the WNBA $25 million to do this in the next couple of years. NBA, I understand that you basically have filtered to help the WNBA in the lean years and whatnot. It's time for y'all to step up again. Y'all get billions of dollars. Yeah, go ahead, Hugh.
Hit you with an audible, man. This would be a punch in the gut if Denver can't find some way to compete in this series right now. They just named the MVP, and now he's the three-time MVP, and it's of course center Nikola Jokic. So this is his back-to-back-to-back MVP type of season. That's not looking good, man. Let's hope that they can do better, man, because you do have to face the defensive player of the year and Rudy Gobert. But yeah, man, for to be the MVP for the third time too, man. I want to see how does that even really matter? Because most times, man, with the MVP, some people just get, oh, I'm fine with that. I'm the best player in the league. But then, to be the best player and who can go on and win the championship like he did last year, it didn't really matter to him for that MVP. I want to know now, did that MVP really matter, or do he try to get back in this series, man? Because yeah, that's a lot of pressure on you now, man. Not saying that there's no pressure y'all being down 0-2, but if you're the MVP, man, y'all gonna have to do something to show some type of life, man.
Okay, now in the end, he won the MVP, and he should have. He was the MVP of the league. No disrespect to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or to Luka Doncic, but it was definitely Jokic. Now, injuries is part of why he won that. Let's be honest. Because at the rate that Joel Embiid was playing before he got hurt, when he was averaging 35, remember, right before he got hurt, he had that 70 piece.
Yeah.
And he could have went for at least 80 that night, easy. So I wonder if he had played the whole season, would he be the MVP, or would actually Joe Embiid be the 2-time MVP? And then that would have been real. If somehow we could have got a matchup with them two in the finals. Probably not ever going to happen, unfortunately. But there's that. But yeah, it's time for them to put up a shut up, plain and simple. But back to this WNBA, man. You want both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese to play well this year, okay? You want their teams to make the playoffs. You want their teams to be on TV. You want them to have some double-doubles, triple-doubles, 40, 50-point games. You want both of them to play well, and you want other players in the league to play well as well. You don't want it to be just about them too, because in the end, that's what is needed in order to get the league to grow to the level that I think it could be on. I think in 5 years' time, Hugh, we will actually start to have millionaire dollar players in the WNBA. At that point, the WNBA should be up to about 16 to 18 teams. And it's definitely some people that's looking to create or bring back certain teams to the league. There is a collective going on to bring the Houston Comets back to the WNBA. I'm definitely for that. There are people looking to possibly bring back the Detroit Shock to the WNBA. I'm definitely here for that. OKC wants a team. Have you seen what they playoff scenario look like? Did you see game one? Did you see how loud and live that crowd is? I think you would get that same type of crowd for the WNBA team. Because what else they got going on in OKC but that?
And I like the way how the people show up to the games too, man. You getting people already having good camaraderie, man. I seen in that Chicago game that we had like the Chicago Bears players there. You know, you had Roma Dunze, Caleb, and you had Keenan Allen there. You having big stars at these games now, enjoying these games, and it's vice versa, because even when the Clippers played, you had the Sparks at their game. You know, it's cool to see that type of love, you know, and just, you know, the support, man. And I think that now that they're going to get a lot more advertisement when it comes to the NBA, and it's just cool to see the support system, not just from, you know, the guys coming to their game, but they're showing up to these games in the NBA as well. So, yeah, man, I'm just hoping and I'm wishing for the best.
Right, and absolutely, you definitely want to see some of the up and coming college stars at some of these games. I'm sure you will. You'll definitely see some people like Paige Beckers and Juju Watson showing up to some of the games. You definitely want to see more people like LeBron and KD and Steph Curry, who was going to WNBA in the last couple years. God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant. You know, he was definitely big on WNBA. And
more advertisements coming too, guys.
Yeah.
Like, sorry about that, E. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good.
I don't really put up preseason stuff like that, man. That's not really my cup of tea. But then I've been definitely advertising May 14th, and I'm getting ready for the WNBA. You will be seeing, like, on my platforms besides Facebook. You know, I don't want that beef no more. But I definitely want to focus on putting my reels and highlights up so you can see more of that as well. Because I started with the preseason stuff. I will have more advertisements on them as well. So definitely stay tuned and just be on the lookout.
Yep. So keep in mind, there are definitely going to be some WNBA preseason games the next couple of days. If you cannot catch them live, I do believe you can go on YouTube and look up WNBA preseason, and you will get the highlights. So you can at least check out the highlights of the games until the actual games come on. Understand that this particular WNBA season is going to be more broadcasted than any season ever. You'll be able to catch them on ESPN, CBS Sports, NBC Sports, on ABC, on CBS. I think it might actually be a couple games coming to Fox sometime soon. So definitely look out for it. Definitely help support it, because that's what we're going to need. But ladies, for the ladies, you are the key to the growth of the league, because the advertisement dollars should be focused primarily on you guys. You in turn have to let the WNBA know what you need from them. Okay, you want us to come to the games? This is what we expect. We want special packages. We want you to advertise. We want a Women's Day. We want, you know, the pink out the park, all these types of things that will advertise to the female demographic that will help to grow the league, but also on the other end, WNBA shop. Let me advise you that just like how the NBA has jerseys for both men and women, I think it's time for you to start making jerseys for women and men so you can get the support in that way. We definitely have been big components of women's sports here on the Nighthawk Network since day one. We will continue to do so. We, in fact, next week will come with you with a WNBA preview of who we will think win this year's WNBA title. Quick preview update. It's probably going to be the same team that I said was going to win last year because they did. But yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit more next week. In the meanwhile, man, let them know where they can find you, Hugh.
You can find me on Facebook at Sportsguru to you. Like I said, right now, man, I had issues before in the past, and I refuse to put any reels and highlights up. I lost a lot of my followers and care less because I'm not trying to get into that situation where it become a lawsuit or it's copyright infringement and I get in any trouble for putting up reels and a platform that you're allowing me to use. You can catch me on TikTok as Hugh.Lee6. On Instagram is Hoovy. And if you have any questions, you can, hit me up on my Gmail account. That's sportsguru2you@gmail.com. And every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, I do the Guru Perspective. I appreciate you guys for all chiming in and, giving your listen and, putting in your thoughts. And I just appreciate all the people who chime in and been listening to the show. And I'd like to say thank you all. And I just hope you continue to listen to me and E as well, on our show that comes on every Wednesday. Thanks for the love and support.
Absolutely. And with that, we are going to wrap up this week's episode of the Guru's Sports Perspective. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, join us next week when we do a WNBA preview. We're going to talk a little bit more of the playoffs in the NBA and, throw in anything else that is of interest. Again, y'all, check out some of that hockey. That hockey been pretty good. For real, for real. But anyway, we up out of here. Until next week, y'all. Be blessed. Don't stress. Put your faith in the hands of the man. Let the good Lord deal with the rest. All right? Throw the fingers up, Hugh. We is up out of here, y'all. And deuces.